Now, you do that work, landscaping work, but you also, sometimes partner with somebody who works from the water.
Yes, we do. Yes.
And we have a picture here. Tell us about this wonderful partner from the water.
So the Charles River Cleanup Boat, which also accepts volunteers, you can find them online. They have a boat, and they go up and down the Charles River, and their main goal is to pick up trash, floating trash from the Charles that can't be reached from the surface, from the edges. And then there was a lot of vegetation growing in the seawall up and down the Charles River. The seawall is the stacks of stone that holds back the earth there. And the trees, and a lot of them were invasive, or just, they weren't necessarily native plants that were, native to this area. They were growing larger, the roots were separating the blocks.
They're probably not good for the seawall at all.
Exactly, the seawall was falling apart. So we came out with a cleanup boat, and we spent an entire day removing a lot of these plants that were destroying the seawall. And it's something we have to take care of our parklands, and hopefully that will have solved some of those problems.
Now, painting fences. This is almost a symbolic thing. Painting fences in American literature, and so there's a lot of painting fences along the Charles, and people pay to do it and love to do it.
Yeah. This is in Magazine Beach in Cambridge, along Memorial Drive, just across from Trader Joe's there. And you can see on the left side of the fence, brown, it's very rusty, does not look very inviting. And you can see in the middle and to the right the fresh coat of green, and it just lets people know that yes, we do care about this park and we want it to look nice.
Yeah, and fence painting is one, and there are a lot of benches.
Yes. And
how often do those benches need to be repainted?
They get repainted usually every 1 to 2 years. If there is no graffiti on them, it can usually be 2 years, and then if there is graffiti, then it's best to paint them every year.
And graffiti, but also if you don't repaint them on a regular basis, water gets into the wood and they rot much faster.
Yes. There are some benches that do need to have their planks changed because of the rot.
And that you do, that's a summer job.
Yes, any pretty much warmer weather. So this is actually a group that came out, the photo you had just before, that was a group that came out just a few weeks ago on one of our really nice spring Saturday mornings, and they painted all the benches from Western Ave Bridge to the Anderson Bridge.
Yeah. You also do some larger projects that take several groups to do, take some months in planning and permitting, and I think this is a project. I guess it's again a before and after. So tell us where that is.
So this is in Herder Park West, and it is a more wild section of Herder Park, and it was very overgrown. The trail was very narrow. There was a large collection of invasive plants there. So we worked with, I believe, 4 volunteer groups to, the first group just went in there and widened the pathway just by cutting back some of that growth. And then the rest of the groups were there to level the pathway, to lay wood chips, and to do some more invasive removal. So probably over, I'd say, 200, 300 volunteers over the course of 4 events came out to this trail.
Yeah, and what our volunteers do also ties in with the efforts to provide this kind of outdoor wellness, so that when you have a path where you can easily walk or run, you're more likely to go there than if you stumble over roots and invasive plants. So our effort to make the parklands more attractive, also we want people to use them.
Yeah, and there's a safety factor also. This was an area of parkland where I think many people might not have felt so safe running when it was so closed in, and by opening it up, it makes it safer, and more people will hopefully enjoy it.
Yeah. Filling bags is a very is something that happens a lot during
Yes,
your
it does.
work.
Yeah.
What happens to the bags at the end of the day?
Well, what happens is we so I guess I'll start by saying that because we work and live in an urban area, we can't just cut this organic debris and leave it there, like some might be able to do out in the suburbs or in a more rural place. It has to be brought off of the parkland, otherwise we'd have all this cuttings everywhere. So all the volunteers bag up any organic matter, anything that they cut. We stack it, and then the DCR, who we partner with, I let them know before the volunteer event. I say, I'm having X number of volunteers out at this location, and they'll come by and pick up the bags, and then they bring it to their composting facility, and then later on it'll just be reused.
So they chop it up and it's used for mulching elsewhere.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Did you ever count how many bags there are in a year?
No, but there's definitely thousands for sure.
I think somebody did estimate the number of tons of debris that was picked up at Earth Day. Was it 15 tons? Was that?
I think that was last year's. And they have not, as far as I know, released this year's. But I would imagine it's probably very very similar. So
yeah,
it's a large amount.
Yeah, and particularly this winter was such a long and hard winter, and so the Parklands had a lot of accumulated bottles and cups. It looked pretty bad, but it looks wonderful now.
It does, yeah.
And I think we are now coming to a very exciting part of the volunteer program. Describe to us what's happening here.
So 2 years ago, CRC started their Daffodil Bulb planting campaign, and that began in the fall of 2009 when CRC planted 10,000 daffodil bulbs.
And that was in anticipation of the 10th anniversary of the Conservancy.
That's correct.
Yeah,
yes. So last year, it was such a in the spring of 2010 when the daffodils bloomed. We plant them in the fall and they bloom in the spring. It was such a wonderful display that we decided it was really best to try it again. So we again this year planted 10,000 daffodil bulbs, and we use a whole variety of local organizations and corporations and individual groups to volunteer and plant.
And the bulbs this year were donated.
Yes, we were very lucky this year. We worked with Mahoney's Garden Center. They have a location right along, on Sodersfield Road.
Western Avenue, between
exactly.
the two. Yeah.
So we were very lucky to have that happen, and they brought out a great variety of bulbs, which is great to see.
And this is an instruction board of how you explain of how deep to plant them, because it's very challenging. It's very hard to soil.
Yes, exactly. And I mean, every volunteer event that we bring out, not only do we bring out all the tools and utensils, but we give all the knowledge about how to volunteer. And every section of the parkland, I'm not sure if many of the viewers know the history of the Charles River Parkland, how it was all filled in, but every area is filled in with different kind of soil. So this photo right here is in Herder Park, and when those were planted there, it might have taken half an hour to dig an 8-inch hole to fill those daffodils. When volunteers who are working on Long Memorial Drive in Cambridge, it might take 15 minutes to dig that same hole.
Yeah. All right. Now we are looking at the group here. Do you remember that group? They worked hard. It looks like.
Yes. I believe this is ITA Software.
Yeah.
Another Cambridge group. We're right along Memorial Drive in front of Hyatt, and they came out end of last summer, in the fall. We just did a great cleanup. Everything from daffodil bulb planting to dead wooding tree. That's new, getting rid of dead trees.
Great. All right. Let's see what else. Here is some playground that you are. What's happening to the playground?
So this is a fall cleanup. Now we're into fall, and this is a little tip of my hat to DCR, who they often will come out on the volunteer events and help us to bag all those leaves. Would have been hundreds of bags. They brought out their big vacuum leaf sucking machine.
Great.
And we together cleaned up a huge area.
Wow.
It's very, very good.
Wonderful teamwork.
Mm-hmm.
And here people are having fun with the
Yes.
leaves here. Yeah. Now we are into winter here.
Yes, so now we've come full circle. We started at the end of winter, beginning of spring. Here we are in the winter, tree pruning, and volunteers love it. It's an opportunity to get outside in the cold and do some good work along the Charles River.
Yeah. And I know you always have a wait list when in the winter because people love to come
Exactly,
out so
yeah.
much. Yeah. Well, this is great to see the whole season of volunteering. And in case you only just joined us, this is the Charles River Conservancy Parkland show, and this show will be up on YouTube on the website of the Charles River Conservancy. And if you want to come and volunteer, get in touch with us. We'll find the spot. We will have the tools, and you'll have a great time. And now I also want to acknowledge all the wonderful groups, the Cambridge groups that have worked with us over the last few years.
Mm-hmm.
So Hyatt, Genzyme, Novartis, Millennium, Intrasystems, Infinity, ITA, and Diax are some of the large. And of course the universities also come out and volunteer with us. We have MIT and Harvard. We have BU. You also have other institutions. You have Leslie.
Yes, I would probably say every university in Boston has come out at some point. The big ones, MIT, Harvard, BU, BC, lots of volunteers from Bunker Hill Community College. Really big presence of students, which is nice, very nice to see.
Good. Well, Logan, I want to thank you for coming today. I want to thank you for your wonderful work on the Parklands. We all benefit from the work that you do, because without your leadership, this would not be possible. And so go out and enjoy those Parklands and come and volunteer. And if you want to contribute to the Charles River Conservancy in order to keep that work going, you can do that on our website, thecharles.org, and have a wonderful time. Thank you, Logan.
Great. Thank you very much, Renata.